Great morning, superstars. Welcome to another fantastic and amazing episode of Social Media Saturdays. I am your host, Taria Hodge, and I am super excited to sit down and have this conversation today. And today we are talking about how to boost your social media using the law of attraction, or how to use the law of attraction to boost your social media. So if you're out there and you're wondering, what does the two have to do with each other? What does the law of attraction have to do with social media? You are about to find out. And as you can see, I have a special guest with me, which I will introduce in just a few moments. So if you are, plus we have some really great announcements coming up. I'm so excited this morning. We have a big announcement, so I'll make sure that I share that with everyone today as well. And so if you are out there and you are watching, you are tuning in, let me know where you are watching from. And I see that Sharon Parker is out there this morning. Great morning, Sharon. How are you? Thank you so much for jumping in and joining. Do me a favor, drop in the comment section and let me know where you are watching from, love. I know where you're watching from, but go ahead and let everyone know where you are watching from. And in through true social media Saturdays form, as you come into the broadcast, I'm going to ask everyone to let us know where you're tuning in from. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you to put in the comment section who you serve in your business. So put who you serve in your business, and then also how you serve in your business and where we can connect with you. So one of the things that I absolutely love that we do here on Social Media Saturdays is the virtual networking. So here's the thing, you don't want to miss this opportunity to connect with other like-minded individuals, okay? So in the comment section, put where you're watching from, put who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and then also let us know where we can connect with you, okay? And then Sharon says she's doing wonderful. She is joining us from Clinton, Maryland. How are things in the DMV today? So thank you so much, Sharon, for coming on and joining us. And then also, do me a huge favor. Like I said, this is going to be an amazing conversation today. So if you know of another coach, you know of another consultant, you know of another thought leader who can benefit from this conversation, take a minute and share the broadcast out. And like I said, we are going to talk about how to use the law of attraction to boost your social media. And in my opinion, the two goes hand in hand. Okay. And so if this is the very first time that you are tuning in to Social Media Saturdays, maybe you've been scrolling through your news feed, you happen to see two beautiful ladies and you want to know what's going on. First, I would like to take a minute to welcome you to Social Media Saturdays. And Social Media Saturdays is a platform that's dedicated to helping coaches, consultants, thought leaders shine by getting their authentic message into the marketplace. And when I talk about shine, I talk about five specific things. I talk about showing up and serving. I talk about honing in on your ideal client, making an impact and influence in the marketplace, how to nurture and build relationships, and also how to create an experience around your brand. And so if you were wondering what this broadcast is all about, like now you know, okay? All right, so without further ado, I am going to introduce the beautiful lady sitting next to me, none other than Mindset Mastery Mentor, my Mindset Mastery Mentor, Suzan Hart. Now, Suzanne, I'm so excited, to sit down, with you today because we have been sitting down like all month.
It's true. It's true.
We've been doing a series of Facebook Lives, and we've actually been doing some webinars together. Okay. And we have been in some wonderful, amazing conversations for the entire month of January. And I have to say, the feedback that we have been getting, from our audience, the breakthroughs that people are having, like I don't expect today to be any different. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, and so when I thought about, social media Saturdays, and I said, what is it that I want to talk about? We're going to talk a little bit about the law of attraction and what does it take, to pull your ideal clients towards you, to pull them towards you. And I remember, just to start it off, having the epiphany. So many times in marketing, we're taught that we have to, go out there and find our ideal client. So they teach us, right, how to take a look at the demographics, how to take a look at the psychographics and all of that stuff, the pain points and everything, right? And then we are on the hunt for the perfect people, right? Like, have you ever felt that way? Like you just have to go hunting every day to find your right people. And then I remember when it dawned on me, right? Like I shouldn't have to go hunting to find my ideal client. What if, there was a way that I could start to pull my ideal client towards me? I could start to attract them. And if you're out there and you're hearing this, I want you to say it, right? I am attracting my ideal clients. I am attracting my ideal clients. Put it in the comment section. And as you say it out loud, it has a different feeling. The energy behind of it is so different. Right? It feels like, just like a breath of relief, like there's not a struggle in going out there and finding them. You're pulling the right people to you. So these are the conversations that Suzanne and I have been in, not just this month, but for over the past 2 years now, as we explore this thing called marketing and how do we put ourselves out there in the marketplace, who identifying who we're called to serve and how we show up and serve better. So I just can't wait, to have this conversation. And so I'm going to kick off the broadcast this morning, Suzanne, with a question. And I'm just going to ask, what do you think stops a lot of entrepreneurs from shining? So, shine is my thing,
Yeah.
right? So, what do you think really stops people from shining?
That's a great question. And Tria, first of all, thanks for having me join you. I'm excited to be here. And this has been a journey for me as well. And I think in order to talk about shine, I'm going to go back to one of the things you said is, we are taught to go get people, I know the word's perfect word, prospect. We're taught to go prospect. Like we're mining for gold or some rock or some craziness. And when I first started on my entrepreneurial journey and my journey into network marketing, I was told to go prospect. And prospect is about, in my opinion, how you're taught is to go find those people who need your product or service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we go out there. We go and we find the people who need our product or service. And we're out there and we're prospecting. And I did not like it because I got these cheesy scripts, I'm going to say it, cheesy scripts of things I would never say. And it felt uncomfortable and I repelled people. I was not attractive in any way. And so I think one of the reasons that people don't shine is because they don't know what's supposed to shine or who's supposed to shine or what does shine mean. Because how many of you get on Facebook, on Instagram, on any social media platform, and you're taught, tell about your product, talk about your product, talk about your product, talk about your product, talk about your product. And so what you're actually trying to have shine is the product, the what you do, the how you do it, all those different things. But shine lives in why you do what you do. Shine lives in the journey between where you are, where you started, and where you arrive, because shine is you. It is your personality, it is your grit, it's your endurance, it's your rise from the fall. It is what makes you unique. It's the quirks about you. You see, people must buy you and I before they buy from you and I. So
Yes.
when we talk about show up and shine, is they need to know who I am. And I will say to you, Tria, as soon as I figured that out, I got scared. Now I put the real me into the marketplace.
Yeah.
But once I began to do it and I began to understand how to do it, and I think that's the big thing, how do you do it? It became so natural. It became so much fun. And this thing called prospecting that we talk about was simple. It was engaging. It was exciting. It
Yeah.
was ease. It felt like I was sitting down having a coffee with someone. It
Yeah.
totally shifted it because the shine was about me and the person in front of me versus my product or service.
Yeah, I love it. And as you're sharing, I'm thinking like it has been, totally transparent moment. One of the things that I too resisted in my business, right? So, I hid,
Mhm.
and why I talk about shine. I hid behind the tools, I hid behind the gadgets, I hid behind the softwares, right? And one of the things that, and I remember saying this, like, oh my gosh, like, can we just get to the meat and the potatoes of the training? So I am here, and this was my thing. I am here to train. So pull out your computers. Let's just go ahead and click here, click there, and let's just get on with it. And I resisted it. That's being honest. I resisted,
Yeah.
putting, my true self, out there. And then it's almost as like you have a desire for more and you want more, but you couldn't figure out, like I
Tell me
couldn't
more.
figure out in my mind, like why am I not at the level that I desired, to be?
And Tria, you said something really interesting because you said let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to the stuff.
Hmm.
And it's like when we do that, it's like meeting a guy and he says, let's go to let's get intimate,
Hmm.
right? And you're like, no, I don't know you. Could we have a coffee? Could we have a chat? Could we have all these things? There's a piece missing. So when we go right to the presentation, what's missing is we didn't actually earn the right to get to the
Right,
presentation.
right.
And shine, who are you? Why should I trust you? What do you know about me? What do we have in common? All of those things, if we don't put that out there first in a engaging way, then there is no connection between us and our audience, us and the person who's sitting in front of us and our client. And so shine is how do you create such a powerful connection with your audience that to them you actually shine. They're like, oh, she stands out. That's my coach. That's the person I'm supposed to work with because I get her. She understands me. We have something in common. So like you, prospecting, connecting, going out and meeting people, putting myself in the marketplace wasn't fun because I had skipped that step and no one was listening to me because no one knew why they should listen to me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest piece, and that's the biggest learn. That's something that I had to get to too, right? And I've talked about it, for the entire oh my gosh, 2020, right? Lessons in vulnerability and how to be open and how to let your audience or how to let your clients see
Yeah.
see you who you are, and not just who you are, but why you do the things that you do, Okay. And so when I talk about shine, that's what I talk about, to let all of that inner stuff, come through you so people could see, why you do what you do. Why are you the expert? And like you said it, why are you the person that have earned the right, to take them on their journey or to help them walk through their journey.
Right, right. And this is the thing we wanna understand. Is there are probably thousands of people who do exactly what you do, exactly what I do, and my question, particularly when I was in network marketing, right? So 700,000 distributors. There was the top distributors, but the question I always asked was, what does it take for someone to join me on
Mhm.
this journey? What does it take for someone to join me? Because if you look from a place of competition, when you are in a network marketing company and there's 700,000 people, right? How do you get to be the top 100? Which is where at the point I ended up. How do you get to, when you're in the marketplace and there's thousands of social media experts,
Mhm.
how do you get to be the top, or how do you get to differentiate yourself? Well, this is the piece about shine, is that you get to differentiate yourself because people need to connect with you. That's the one thing that you have, I have, that no other mindset mastery person has, no other social media strategist has, is I own my own journey. I own my own quirkiness. I own my own brilliance. I own, and that's my unique thing. That's what makes me shine. So what we're really talking about is putting that out there so the people who are like you and have similar journeys to you will hear you.
I love it. I love it. And we actually have Terrence Leffridge, out there this morning. Great morning, Terrence. Thank you for stopping by
Good
and
morning, Chris.
doing Social Media Saturdays. Terrence, do me a favor. Make sure you put where you're watching from and who you serve and how we could connect with you in the comments. But Terrence made a very interesting point. And the point that he made was, we don't shine because we're focusing on other people's shine.
Mm. You
Okay.
know, that's a great comment, and one of my favorite books is The Science of Getting Rich. And
Mhm.
if you hang out with Suzanne, I'll tell you, read the book, read the book, read the book, read the whole series. But, and one of the distinctions he makes is the difference between creation and competition,
Mhm.
right? And oftentimes we are taught, particularly in North America, that we are in competition
Yes.
with our peers who do what we do. And so when you think from competition, the market automatically gets small, right? It
Mhm.
automatically gets small. It automatically feels crowded. It automatically, because now you think that you're competing. And whenever we're in competition, we're in comparison. And what Terrence is talking about, we're in comparison. So we're focusing on someone else's brand. We're focusing on the brands that are bigger. We're focusing on the brands that are theoretically better. And we're not focusing from a place of what can I learn. We're focusing on why are they better? That's my competition. And so it's a different type of focus. When you step into creation is from a place of abundance. There's from a place of there's more than enough for all of us. But it does this other unique thing. Creation has you sit in this place of believing that there's a divine group of people that I am called to serve. There's a divine group of people that only I can serve. And when I sit in that place, Taria, the market suddenly gets big again,
Yeah.
because I understand that there are people who are called to work with me because of my journey, my experience, and my unique brilliance. And when I started to get that, and I started to focus on what is special, unique, and brilliant about Suzanne, what started happening were people who connected with me was like, I have been looking for you. You are the person I know I'm supposed to work with. So I'll give you a great quick story. I got an email earlier this week with a question. I couldn't answer the question via email, so I sent her my number, and I said, let's do a phone call. So she booked a time, and we did a call.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the call, the person said, I have been waiting to speak with you. Now, what she means is me, as in me, the commonality.
Yes.
Right? She sees me. But what was interesting is when I said to her, how did you find me? I've never met her. She said, I watched a video on YouTube and you spoke to me.
Mm.
Right?
Yes.
That's attraction. That's creation. That's abundance. That is one of my people hearing me and saying, that's my person. I need to speak to her. And once I started sitting in this place that I believe Terrence is talking about, what began to happen when I began to focus on my brilliance and connecting with the people who I, as you say, are called to serve, they started becoming attracted to me. And I didn't start looking at other people in terms of comparison.
Yes.
I started looking at other people in terms of what can I learn? Because there's only me. There's only one me. I don't have to make myself better in the sense of different or to look like someone else. I have to shine and let the world know what's unique, brilliant, special, and attractive about Suzan Hart.
Yeah, I love it. And, we can't talk about that without talking about how it plays out on social media. So as you're talking, I'm thinking, and Sharon is typing. I love it. So Sharon is like saying sometimes focusing on other people's shine is a marketing strategy. So you show collaboration and synergy and building without competing with those individuals. And so Sharon, I want to say you're so true, right? And like that's the point that everyone should like strive to get to. But social media is a place where, I see it, even for me, like I said, I'm pulling back the curtain, I'm being totally transparent, right? There was a time when I sit and I look and, oh, this person is doing this. And then, you're always like in that comparison mode and you're always trying to compare. And then even though you tell yourself like, oh, it's not competition, it really is competition, right? And, as soon as I realized that and I caught it, and I was just like, oh, I don't have to do that. I just have to show up, and just be me. I just have to show up, right? And do my thing. Okay. And then, like you said, you get those wonderful calls. And I had like a couple of those calls myself this week where people said, you know what, from the moment we connected, the moment I saw you on social media Saturdays, or the moment we had a conversation, I knew that you were my person. Okay. And it's such a great feeling because number one, that's what we're all put here to do. They're people that I believe that we're all divinely called to serve. But I like what Terrence said, but if we don't let our light shine, they won't be able to find us. So I hope that everyone out there is hearing this. Like this is a calling card. You have to let your light shine.
Absolutely. And I also want to go back to what Sharon's saying, because absolutely it is a strategy to find and focus on those people that are like-minded. But this is the thing. I see people focus on people who are like them. This would be a great client for me. This would be an ideal client. The law of attraction says that the person who I'm looking for is looking for me. Right? And that's where shine lives. Because I can show up, I can call them, but if I don't let my unique light shine, they still won't see me. Yeah. So how many of you have found someone and said, ooh, this person is a perfect fit. This is a perfect client for me. And then you've gotten an opportunity to talk with them, and you don't connect first. You dive right into product, service, all these different things. And the strategy was excellent, but what was missing was this thing called enrollment and engagement. And you see, for me, what I remind myself is one is I have to earn the right, and two is I have to shine so that they can actually see me. And I don't mean see my products and service. I
Mhm.
mean see me. They
Yeah.
have to see me because I truly believe that those people that I'm called to look for and to work with and I'm looking for are also out there looking for me. Therefore, I have to show up in such a way that they see that I am that person. And this is the interesting thing. That has nothing to do with the product. It has nothing to do with the service. It has nothing to do with what I do or how I do it. It has everything to do with why I do it and who I am,
Yes. Yes.
right?
That's the huge difference right there. That's the differentiation right there. The why you do what you do. Okay.
Absolutely.
And Sharon is saying, well said. Okay. All right. So I do have another question, and this is a question that comes up more often than not, that I
Mhm.
see a lot of entrepreneurs and especially people who are, new on the journey. They struggle, sometimes with communicating their value in the
Mhm.
marketplace. Okay. And we've even had some great discussions around this.
We had this discussion the other day, actually.
Yeah, uh-huh. So what is value, and how do we perceive value? And then how do you communicate that value in the marketplace?
Oh, wow. Okay. How long do we have? This is such a great question. And this is what I will say to everyone that's listening. You know, when we think, oftentimes when we think of value, we think of our product, we think of our service, we think of what we deliver, we think of all those things. And absolutely. But there's two things about value that most people don't look at. So one of the things we see is people underpricing their services, right, Tria?
Yes.
People underpricing their services, people devaluing their services, and partly because of how long they perceive themselves to be entrepreneurs in the marketplace, and
Hmm.
all those different things. And so one where value lives is in your belief system.
Yeah.
Your value lives in how much you believe in you and what you bring to the table. And if you aren't like have such a belief, like no one can challenge me about what I do because I am 10 foot tall and bulletproof on this thing. My belief is so high. No one can challenge me on whether people need what I do because I believe that everybody needs what I do. Now, this is the thing. The question is, how did I get to that belief?
Hmm.
There's two things. Well, I think the best way to say is I have a story. And that's how I got to my belief. I have a story that is a journey from where life was so painful and I was so out of alignment to a place where life became full and juicy, which is where I am now. And we're in the beyond, right? What makes my belief unshakable is what happened in between the start and where I am now. The highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the moments when I kicked the wall, when life came down my street, as I often say, sat on my chest, backed up and did it again. And I was there going, I am never going to get up. But when I rose, I want you guys to get this. When I rose, I picked up a level of belief in myself, in my capacity, in my, knowing that it has me unshakable. And that is what people pay for. They don't just pay for what you do, They pay for the bird's eye view that your journey gives you. They pay for your 10,000 hours. They pay for those falls. They pay to get insights into those moments where you were like at the edge of who you know yourself to be. They pay for all of that. That is priceless. And what I say to most people is we have no idea of our value. We have no idea how unique, special, brilliant we are. We have no idea when we put ourselves in the marketplace what is available to someone else. What creates your value is your knowing of your value and your knowing of what you bring to the table. Now, that doesn't mean I have all the answers. And I really want that to land. That does not mean I have all the answers. What that means is I have a unique gift that is just mine. That is my purpose. That calls me to a unique place and has me have a relatedness with people in a very special way. That is mine. And so my belief lives in who I know myself to be. So when I talk about people who are bringing products to the market, one of the questions I ask them, and you know this, Tria, is have you earned the right to be the guide? Have you earned the right to bring this product to the market? Have you earned the right? And usually when people tell me their story, I can figure out instantly if they've earned the right. Right? Because their stories are stories of heroes rising. Their stories are stories about when they became the hero in their lives, the lessons they learned, and when they earned the right to be the guide. It is a lived experience that it can't be found in a book. It can't be found in what you studied. It can't be found in school. It doesn't live in your degree. It's when you take that degree and you fight for who you're supposed to be. That is where value lives, because value is built in your belief. We put value in the marketplace when we have a deep belief in who we're called to be.
Yeah, I'm watching the comments, and Shayelle is saying, "Wow, hero." Sharon is saying, "Priceless. You must know your history." 2021. And Shayelle is saying, "I needed to hear this today." And I love, Suzanne, that you actually talked about the S word, the story. And I know that there's so many people out there who have
Oh
a
my goodness.
story. They have a story. And I was number one, at first, know I have the story. Know I have a story. Didn't want to share the story. Resisted sharing the story forever. Told myself things like, oh my gosh, nobody wants to hear the story. Right. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes on in there. But I love this. I love what you shared, that people won't see the value, or they can't see the value until you share the story. But I'm going to go to something else, Suzanne, and I heard you mention this, twice already, on the broadcast, and you talk about ETR, you talk about earning the right. Okay. So
Mhm.
for those of you out there, who have probably never heard of earning the right before, I remember when I first heard, of earning the right, I was like, oh my gosh. So I want you to share with our audience just a little bit more of exactly what is earning the right? And how do you, infuse that like into your story? How do you put that into your conversations to make you more attractive?
Well, Tria, as you know, I teach storytelling, and I love storytelling because storytelling is the best way to edify yourself and earn the right to be seen as the expert or earn the right to be the guide. The difference is when most people tell their story, they tell the story of all their giftings, accolades, successes, where they went to school, who they've come, all their letters behind their name. They tell that story. And that's a bio. That's not a story.
Mm.
Those people take the stage, and the first thing they do is they give you your bio. The person who introduced you to the stage is supposed to give your bio. Your job is to ETR, earn the right. And earning the right is telling the story in totality. And what I mean by that is if almost every entrepreneur I've met, every coach, consultant, speaker, you name it, when you hear their story, there was a moment when life was painful.
Yeah.
And they were what I call at their edge of who they know themselves to be, trying everything, doing everything. And it doesn't have to be catastrophic. It could be, I've been in this job way too long and I'm so dissatisfied, it's painful. But they're in the edge of where they know themselves to be. And it's almost like they're fighting with themselves. And then there comes a point where things get so bad, so painful, that they look for an answer. And in the search for an answer, they have a transformation, a breakthrough, and they find a new way of being, a new level of brilliance, a new level of who they are in the world, and they shift. And that shift often has them find a new purpose, a new reason for being, a new place in the world. And they start to look at the lessons that got them there. When someone earns the right and they tell their story, when I say they tell the story of someone who became the hero in their lives, because the listening difference is I hear people who tell the story of I'm a victim and it was somebody's fault. And then you hear the person story of I felt like a victim. I did some self-reflection. I did some work. And in that work, I transformed. I stood up, became the hero in my life, and learned a whole bunch of lessons. Why I do what I do is because I'm going to show you the lessons as well as teach you an expertise. That is a very different process. What you're saying to your audience is I've been where you've been. I've sat in your seat. I've cried those tears. I know what it's like in those dark moments, but I know you can rise because I've risen. I know you can get through this because I've gotten through this. I know you can find an answer because I found an answer. And by the way, I'm here to show you what I learned so that I can fast track you and help you avoid the landmines, the pitfalls, and to have someone to talk to who can connect with where you're going and why you're in the place you are right now. That's the power. So I talk about $1 million stories, multi-million-dollar stories. I have $1 million story, and what that means is just it's earned me that amount of money, right? That one telling one story. And so for me, when I began to ETR and I stopped hiding behind prospecting and product, was the first time I took the stage and told the audience that I pretended that all looked good on the outside, but truly, I was physically exhausted, financially upside down. I had a lien on my house in a marriage that was falling apart and desperately in pain, right? And I spent half my time blaming everybody else and waiting for everyone else to change. And then one day realized that I was everywhere, right? And said, ooh, I am the change. And mindset mastery, an unstoppable mindset was birthed because that's what I had to figure out, is how do I take 100% responsibility for where I'm standing right now, and how do I develop a resilient mindset, an unstoppable mindset where I become solution focused, 100% responsible for where I am, accepting of what is in front of me, committed to lifelong learning, committed to lifelong transformation, and knowing that I'm called to be bigger. That came out of the journey of frustration. But when I chose to be the hero in my life, I also found so many lessons that were uniquely mine, but not uniquely mine, if you will, that I could then go teach. And because I had gone through the journey, my belief is high, but I also earned the right to guide other people.
Yeah. I love it. And I love that, Barbara. Great morning, Barbara. Barbara is out there saying, this is such a good message. Story is not your bio. And I wanted someone to drop that, into the comment section. So thank you, Barbara, for putting it there. Your story, your bio is not your story. Okay. So when someone asks you, what's your story? Your bio is not the story. But here's the thing. I'm reading Shayela, and Shayela, I'm so glad that you are receiving so much value this morning. And Shayelle is saying that she was stuck in what they call imposter syndrome. Okay. And
Mhm.
and that's the thing. Like, being stuck there, you you got it, but you could help, but it's how you're showing up. Okay. And I think when we all come through the feeling of imposter syndrome is going back to remembering the value, right? What is the value that you bring? And you're right. I love how you tie the story back to the value. Because if we just stop sometimes and think, oh my gosh, this is the journey that I've been on, this is the
Yeah,
story, you will see that there's value. And that's one of the things that I had to, get really present to. There's value in everything that I do, every conversation, every little things, even the things that I overlook. It all plays a part in how I show up. So
absolutely.
thank you for that. That was really, really, really good. Okay. And so before we go into the last and final question, Suzanne, which is, why does sharing your story make you attractive? Right. I want to just take a minute and pause here for a second and just, I promise that we have some announcements, but I wanted to just once again offer the invitation, right? So I'm seeing the comments. I'm seeing Patricia is out there. Great morning, Patricia. Thank you
Hey,
so much
Trisha.
for joining. And so we've had the opportunity, Suzanne, to sit down with some amazing, entrepreneurs and thought leaders and super achievers, and helping them, go through the power, of their story and getting their messaging out into the marketplace. And so one of the things that we have focused on the last quarter, the first quarter of 2020, is unleashing the power of your story. So I just want to say
Love
this.
to
If
that
you're
now. I'm gonna tell
yeah,
you.
so if you are out here and you know that this is the next step that you need, okay? This is the next thing that you need to take you to the next level. Because remember, I said, I to myself asked the question. I asked the question, what's blocking me from getting to my next level of success? I could see it. It was right there, but it's like almost I was bumping up
Yeah.
against it and couldn't break through it. And as I started to work closer and closer with Suzanne, I realized that that's what it was. I was holding on to my story, afraid to share the story, didn't want to tell the story. But the minute I opened up and I started to share the story, I started to attract people, and not just anybody, the right people. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference in how we walk through the world. Okay, I know we talk about business, but this is also in real life as well, right? It it helps you as you walk through the world because you call the right people,
Yeah.
into the space, right? So it's not just about the clients. It's like Sharon said, the collaborative endeavors. Okay. And like I said, how are we journeying together? That's my thing. So what I'm going to do is invite everyone to join us. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Jan- Tuesday, January 26th at 7 p.m. for Magnetize and Monetize the Virtual Stage. Okay. And so this is our very first introduction. We're doing a live training. Okay, on the power, of story. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the link right into the comment section. And you want to make sure, like I said, if you know that this is a thing that you need to take you to the next level, that you join us for that conversation Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. So the link is inside of the comment section. and we could continue to rock and roll with our
I,
next
I love
question.
it, and I wanna just talk about you, Sharia, for a moment, and joke about one of our Unleash the Power of Your stories. So, I have been working with Sharia for a while now about with storytelling and mastering your story. Now, those of you who work with me, I see Patricia's out there, and Patricia's in the middle of it and just doing a brilliant job. And so I do truly believe that when you own your story, you don't read when you take the stage. You don't take papers. You don't need papers on the stage. You do what I call freestyle. So on our last presentation, I watched this woman, Taria Hodge, tell her story. When she was done and she introduced me, I forgot what I had to say. I was so leaned in, enthralled, listening, in awe of this woman telling her story that I was like, oh, it's me now. And I had to tell the audience, like I'm just like, wow. Why I'm sharing that is the power of story. When you use story in your marketing, when you use story in your presentations, it's almost like you stop people.
Yeah.
You stop them, and stories transport people. Stories take people different places. Stories take people on a journey. And but what's very cool about it, you take them on a journey into a glimpse of your world. And
Mhm.
as they're taking a glimpse of your world, they're actually seeing a glimpse of their world. There's a saying, because I'm creating you, creating me.
Yeah.
Well, when you tell the story, it's I'm creating you, creating me. In terms of you're telling a story, I can hear it, but I see myself. I'm recreating aspects of my life, and that's where connection happens. So that's where I was caught while Therese was telling her story, and then I was the next speaker, and I was like, oh, hello, right? She did such a magnificent job. Why? Because she didn't read. She was powerful. She was engaging. She was enrolling. She was authentic. She embodied her story, and you could feel the audience stop, even on a Zoom, and lean in. Isn't that what you want?
Yeah, and thank you so much for that, Suzanne. Because, like I said, it's been one of those things that I've been challenged with, right? And I think for the very first time, I surrendered to it. So there's a thing where you know the words and you know what you're gonna say, but have you totally surrendered and have you totally accepted it?
And I think the access, I will say, Cheria was not perfect.
Mhm.
She didn't get everything right. She wasn't polished, and I want everyone to hear this.
Mhm.
But she was real. She was authentic. And oftentimes we are so conditioned in our education system to show up perfect, to show up
Yeah,
polished, that we forget to show up authentic.
yeah,
And polished and perfect put distance between you and your audience, because the audience is sitting there going, I'll never be like that. I can't be like that. Authentic and imperfect, yet great,
yeah,
connects you with your audience because they actually see themselves in you. And that's how she showed up. And that's the power of storytelling. But that's the power of authentic, in the moment, genuine storytelling. And the cool thing is you'll never tell the story the same way twice, right?
yes. Yeah, but once you embrace it, I'm learning. Once you embrace it and you accept it, then it flows. I love it. I love it. And I see that LaDon popped on. Hi, sugar. Thank you
Hey,
so much
Dawn.
for joining. All
Stuff.
right. Okay, so why does sharing your why make you attractive? So we've been spending some time just to let everyone know, going through the book. Start with why, and I have to say, once again, guilty. So many times, I led with the how, and I led with the what, right? And couldn't understand once again why I'm not getting traction in my business until I learned how to share my why. So, how does sharing your why make you attractive?
You know, we all hear the cliche that people don't care about what you do until they know why you do it.
Mhm.
You know, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. We could have all those cliches. I could go on and on. The question is, what does that truly mean? When you say that, what does that mean? Well, I think it's looking at not just the why, but what created the why,
Yeah.
right? And so what I love about story, and I'll go back to story all the time, is when you and I tell a story of transformation, right? As I said, I started here and I was in pain, I was in struggle, I was in all these things, and I'm thinking of my sister LaDawn, who's watching. I remember the first time she shared her story,
Yeah.
and she shared the journey of where she started and where she is and what she had to go through and what she had to learn. By the time she was complete, I liked this woman, but I was in awe of this woman, right? And so what stories do is story goes, as I said, it takes you on a journey, but it takes you on a more intimate journey. And usually in the middle of story somewhere, we kind of discover why we exist, what is our purpose, right? Why we're starting this business. And you'll hear people usually when they tell the story, they go, and why I do what I do, why we exist is because, and they'll usually tell you that in the middle of the story. But it's not just the why. You now just got the backdrop to the
Yeah.
why. You got the journey to this is why I do what I do. And what it does is it gives you a glimpse into the heart and character of a person. So I've been known to say, we talk about psychographics, we talk about demographics, we
Mhm.
talk about our ideal client. All that stuff is awesome. Our divine client is the client we have a heart to heart connection with. And a heart to heart connection is found in story. Because in the middle of story, and if you watch any movie, you will notice there's a character that will bring you to tears. There's a character that you connect and relate to. There's a character that you identify with. There's a character that touches, inspires you, moves you, and you connect. When we have the courage to share our authentic story, what happens in the middle is there's an authentic connection that happens that gives people a glimpse into your heart, your courage, your tenacity, your drive, your fight. You're willing to care. You're willing to serve. You're willing to go to the mat for people. It gives people stuff that your bio and that introduction I was telling you is not your story cannot do. So when LaDawn shared her story, it gave us that part of her. And because I see a powerful woman, when I got a glimpse into the journey, I got a new respect for the woman. I got a new way of honoring the woman. I got a new connection with the woman. And this is what story does for us. It gives us that place and space where intimacy lives. It gives us that place and space where you earn the right. It gives you that place where they understand this is why this person's the guide, and the passion that allows you to be the guide.
I love it. I love it. You are saying so much. Wonderful. Wow. Suzanne, I have to say, it's always a pleasure when we get to sit and have our one on one conversations. But I think just having these conversations, on our various platforms are also wonderful too. It's like we give, people the opportunity to have the insight, and see. So thank you so much for
You're
sharing.
welcome.
absolutely enjoyed our time today. And so before we go ahead and we wrap it up and we close it out, Shayelle is saying this was awesome. Before we go ahead and we wrap it up and we close it up, any closing thoughts from you or from you?
I think what I want to close with is one. You will see Tria and I at Magnetize and Monetize the virtual stage, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And yes, she has dropped the link, and we would love to see you there. And I think, why story is so important is that every one of us deserves to be seen, heard, and recognized. Every one of us deserves to be valued for what we bring to the table. I also know that everyone listening is brilliant. I know that everyone listening is special, and that there's a unique group of people that are waiting for you to put your brilliance into the marketplace, waiting for you to show up and shine, waiting for you to show your authentic self so they can see you and hear you and say, that's the person I'm called to work with. Storytelling and being willing to be vulnerable to share your authentic journey is your access to those people. So that's my last words.
I love it. Thank you so much once again. And before we close out, Suzanne, just let everyone know where they could connect with you. So we know they'll connect on Tuesday evening at Magnetize and Monetize the virtual stage. But where else can they connect with you on social?
Absolutely. You can find me on most social media platforms as Suzan Hart, and it's SUZANHART. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, most of the main platforms, YouTube. The other place is you can go to SuzanHart.com. That is my website, and check out what we're doing. You will find a lot more about mindset mastery and developing unstoppable mindset by resetting your thinking. So those are where people can find me, Turia.
Yeah, I love it. And
I'm hanging out with Turia, actually.
yes, I'm so excited because we have so much more to come. So I am looking forward to all of the great things that we are collaborating on. We're journeying together in 2021 and beyond. So I absolutely love it. And so once again, my superstars, thank you everyone for tuning in and joining another amazing, I thought it was amazing, episode of Social Media Saturdays and sitting down with the Mindset Mastery Mentor, my Mindset Mastery Mentor, Suzan Hart. And so once again, if you are not following us on Facebook, you could find us at Social Media Saturdays. That's our page. So if you want to be notified for when we do the show and more episodes, just click the follow button and you'll be able to follow us. If you are not a member of our Social Media Saturdays community, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Social Media Saturdays, help you serve, share, and shine, and knock on the door. We'll let you in. We put some pretty cool stuff in there for you during the week. And then we can be found on Instagram, on Twitter, and also on YouTube as Social Media Saturdays as well. And so take care, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.